Hello, everybody. Welcome to Joe the Lawyer. Today, I want to take a first look at the lawsuit filed by Texas against four other states, which seeks to invalidate the election results of those four states. Thank you for joining me today. If you like my content, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. The direction I want to take this channel is to cover legal news and to cover lawsuits. So I'm going to do a mix of episodes where I just cover legal news and then other live episodes or shows where I just cover legal complaints. So what I'm going to do today is take a first look at this Texas lawsuit, which was filed several days ago. I just want to sort of give you an idea of who some of the actors are, what the claims are, maybe the likelihood of success, and then over the weekend, I'm going to do a deep dive into the complaint that was filed by Texas and Texas's Attorney General. Now, there have already been responses filed by some of these states as well, and hopefully over the weekend, I can go into those responses as well when I have a little bit more time. But I wanted to come out with a quick episode, so feel free to jump in on the chat, but I just want to do a summary of what is going on with these lawsuits filed by Texas and joined in by the Trump presidency, okay, and several other states. So the lawsuit was filed. Let me see if I can find the date here. Well, we'll go with about a week ago, all right, because I can't find the date. And this is an interesting lawsuit because it's the state of Texas. We have the state of Texas. Hello, Beverly. Hello, Gary. We have the state of Texas filing a lawsuit against four other states. The four states that are being sued in this lawsuit are Georgia, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. And, well, there's no secret why those states are being targeted, because those are the ones that unexpectedly, or perhaps expectedly, at least Georgia seems a little unexpectedly, to have gone Republican or gone for Donald Trump in the last election, but now this election, they went for Joe Biden. So these are swing states. Georgia wasn't traditionally a swing state. Perhaps it's going to be going forward. We have Georgia, Wisconsin, Michigan, and PA. Last time, Donald Trump won Wisconsin, Michigan, and PA. This time, he lost them. So what's happened is Texas has filed this lawsuit against these other four states. Now, the lawsuit was actually brought by the correct party within Texas, who is the Attorney General, Ken Paxton. He did the filing. It was brought on his behalf. Now, many other states, I believe 11, 12, 13, 14 other states, I can look here real quick, have joined in on the lawsuit, are backing up Texas, and the Trump administration also joined in. 18 states, 18 GOP, they're all Republican states, joined in. Alabama, Arkansas, Arizona, Florida, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, North Dakota, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Utah, and West Virginia. That's not all the Republican states, but that's a significant percentage of them. They've joined in on this lawsuit, and so has the Trump administration. So what the lawsuit is asking is essentially they're asking the Supreme Court to step in and block certification of the Electoral College vote. So the Electoral College is set up in the United States Constitution. It is in the Constitution. And so this structure exists, and it was created by our founders, and it has been changed over time with multiple amendments in order to decide the selection of the presidency. Now, what this lawsuit, and again, this is very bold and brazen in its scope, just like the Pennsylvania lawsuit was, but it asks the Supreme Court to determine that the states allowed illegal votes and require the states to revisit and resubmit their election results. Okay, that's an extraordinary remedy that they are seeking. In the alternative, and this is something that the Trump attorneys have been doing from state to state, is in the alternative, let the state legislatures determine the winners of each state. And curiously enough, a lot of these states that went for Joe Biden actually have Republican legislatures. They're majority Republican legislatures, okay? And in order for this, so this is a preliminary motion, all right, that that Trump and Texas and their attorneys filed, all right? And so this first motion is doing is asking the court, saying, hey, will you even take a look at this, right? Will you grant us the right to be heard before your court, all right? You get to oral arguments, brief the topic, get more in depth. That's what they're asking in this motion for complaint. And what the court would need in this type of situation is 5 justices. 5 of the Supreme Court justices would have to agree. So let's look at, the breakdown of the United States Supreme Court, okay? Current breakdown of the Supreme Court. Forgive me, I should have brought this up previously, but I did not. So you got 9 justices, and we have the solid liberal justices, okay, who are Elena Kagan, Sonia Sotomayor, both of which were appointed by President Obama, and Stephen Breyer, who I believe was appointed by Bill Clinton. All right, those 3 are solid liberal justices. All right, they're certainly going to go against this. So you got 9. All right, you can count 3 out. We got 6 remaining. All right, next we have John Roberts, who is the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, who was traditionally viewed as a conservative. He's gone left, he's gone right. A lot of pundits are putting him in the left corner right now and for now. So he is likely a no vote as well, even though he was nominated by a conservative Republican president. All right, so now we are down to 5. We have Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, the two rock solid conservative justices not appointed by President Trump, and then we have Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett. All 3 of them are supported or were nominated by Donald Trump. All right. So let's say you have 4 who are definitely not going to go for Donald Trump. Then you have the 3 that he nominated who will. In my opinion, it comes down to 2. It comes down to 2. All right, you have Clarence Thomas and Amy Coney Barrett. Here's the thing. This lawsuit, and I'm just doing this on the face of it, all right, I'm going to do a deeper dive into the complaint later. This lawsuit is giving the gives the Supreme Court an easy out. It gives them an easy out, just like Pennsylvania used the doctrine of lashes to deny the lawsuit there challenging the Pennsylvania results. This one has an easy out, and that is jurisdiction. That is jurisdiction. So this is an interesting lawsuit in that you have the state of Texas suing 4 other states in the Supreme Court. All right, they went straight to the top court. Well, what the Supreme Court can do here is they can kick it down to the lower courts. They could deny it simply by saying, hey, whoa, Texas, you could have resolved this in a federal district court, or you could have resolved this in a state court. You need to go there first. You need to go there first, okay? So the court could easily deny it on that basis, not even really giving this lawsuit a foot in the door, all right? And that's because what Texas is doing is they're claiming original jurisdiction in the Supreme Court. They're essentially saying only the United States Supreme Court can hear this case, because this is not the normal life of a case. Even the case in Pennsylvania that went up to the Supreme Court and where the emergency injunction was denied, even that case in Pennsylvania worked its way up through the state courts first. It took a matter of weeks, but it worked its way up. Here, Texas is trying to bypass that. procedure. They're saying, look, these federal district courts couldn't hear it. Okay, we had to go right to the Supreme Court. Now, when a state sues another state, sometimes they can do that. All right. Sometimes they can claim that original jurisdiction because, well, if you think about it, a state is a very large actor, and constitutionally are really the only actors, all right, besides the federal government. And where the Supreme Court would grant original jurisdiction is more traditional type of disputes between one state and another in regards to, let's say, trade, all right, trade restrictions, or let's say issues that occur regarding travel over interstate lines, perhaps even a border dispute, all right? Something like that, where there's two issues between states and where the local courts just can't play a role. So boom, you got to go right to the big guy. You got to go right to the Supreme Court. So that's this lawsuit provides the Supreme Court with an easy way to sort of kick the can down the road, all right? And that may be the path that they take. Very similar to what the Pennsylvania Supreme Court did when they invoked the doctrine of lashes. Now, you have here, 18 other states, the president joining in, and of course the Texas lawsuit. So what they've tried to do, the lawyers, the Trump campaign in Texas, is put a lot behind this, okay? Tried to raise the gravity of this case so that the Supreme Court is more likely to take a look at it. I don't know if it will work, all right? I actually think that this case has a better chance of being heard by the United States Supreme Court than the Pennsylvania case did. And it's for a couple of reasons. It is because of the scope of the case. But what the complaint did here, and I'll do a video later where we actually go into the complaint. I'm going to see if people are interested in it. It's probably going to be like an hour and a half long. It's a 30-some page complaint, but I'll break it down point by point. Is what they did is this is a virtual grab bag of the election issues that have been raised by Republicans in the Trump campaign, right? So they revisit the Pennsylvania issue, saying that the mail-in voting was unconstitutional. They revisit a couple of other issues that existed in the various states, and frankly, a lot of the lawsuits that have already failed. But what the Supreme Court could do is they could pluck one of these issues out and say, hey, we're going to listen on this one and dismiss the rest of them. That is a strategy that attorneys will sometimes employ, okay? There's a couple ways to go at it. Is you could, when you're filing an appeal, and I've done multiple appeals in federal district courts, and also I've taken cases to the Circuit Court of Appeals in federal courts, and I've done Superior Court appeals, never took anything to the Supreme Court. Anyway, what you'll do sometimes, and so I work with criminal cases, all right, and I will review the entire transcript of a criminal trial, read all the facts, and I'll pluck out about 10 issues. I'll be like, look, there's about 10 things here that are pretty good that I can argue, and then I'll narrow it down to maybe 5 or 6, okay, the ones that are most arguable. And my strategy may be to put 5 or 6 of them before the Superior Court and put the strongest ones first, all right? And that's something, when you read a complaint, if you read a legal document, usually the strongest argument is going to be first. You want to, this is just sort of common sense, right? You want to make your strongest argument first, and you also want to close strong. So the first argument is likely the strongest. The last one is likely pretty strong. And then second, third, and fourth, it gets weaker as you go down. But you want a strong argument at the end as well, right? You always want to close on a high note. What's the most memorable part of a speech? It's the last thing that the people heard, most likely, unless you made a really big impact at the beginning. So what they did here is they brought up 5 or 6 or 7 different issues, which is what I would do on my appeals. And you hope that one gets through, right? You want to jam one in, hope that the court plucks one of them and says, hey, we'll look at it. And so I think there's a chance of that. I still believe that it's unlikely because the court sort of has that easy out that I was talking about, that jurisdictional out. They can say, look, this isn't a dispute. These are each independent state issues. Texas has no business coming in here and making this claim. All right. But they could see 1 or 2 issues in there and perhaps bring it to the court and perhaps hear it. Now, I think it's unlikely, but I do think that there's a better chance here than there was on the Pennsylvania case, if only because they brought up so many issues. All right. And it has a bit more oomph, a bit more emphasis behind it. Again, like I said, though, the court has an easy out when it comes to jurisdiction. And if they kick it out due to jurisdiction, that doesn't necessarily mean the lawsuit's dead, but Texas might have to file it in a local district court and have it work its way up through the standard system. And that would not be beneficial because the way Trump is seeing it and the Republicans are likely seeing it as time is running out, right? The closer it gets to inauguration, the more likely that he's not going to have any chance, right? Once Joe Biden's seated as the president, the Supreme Court or any of these courts are just going to be less and less likely to look at any of these issues. So over the weekend, I looked up the complaint. It's 32 pages. All right. It's not as long as I thought, but I'm going to read through it and I'm going to do a video on it. All right. So tune in this weekend for that video. I'll probably shoot it as a quick live video like this, where I'm not necessarily interacting with you guys. I love you all. Thank you, Brooke, Axe, Beverly, Gary, Soulseye, Frank, for jumping in. Soulseye, she read the entire complaint today. So join me this weekend. Or Soulseye, do me a favor. If anybody's read the complaint or really thought about this, drop your comments. All right. And what I'll do this weekend when I do the complaint is I'll run through the complaint and then I'll take questions afterwards. If you guys want to do something like that, or drop your questions in the comments to this video and I will come back later. So, we'll see what happens with this. I might go through Pennsylvania apparently filed a brief that was very blistering. So I'd like to look at that, being a Pennsylvania guy. But we will analyze these over the weekend. Thank you for tuning in. I am Joe Pometto, Joe the lawyer. No sweater vest for me today. However, I do have a little bit of Diet Coke. So if you want to raise your cup, your glass in the air, you want to take a sip with me before we call it a night, raise your cup, your glass. It tastes better when we sip together. Cheers. All right. Thanks, everybody. Check me out this weekend for a more in-depth analysis of the complaint.